Hello guys and welcome back to my color grading suite here in Switzerland. My name is Dave and today's look breakdown is a music video I created a couple of years ago for the Swiss music producer MAVAREL. By the way, all the music that you hear in my YouTube channel since the first look breakdown is created by him. In the description below you'll find more info. And this is the final look. The song is about the artist MAVAREL telling the audience what music means to him. Emotions, limitlessness, to live and fulfillment. He goes on to tell what his sources of inspiration for his music are. The artist tells the audience something very personal and gives insight into his studio to letting them show his passion. He goes on to tell how music puts him in dream phases. He interprets and composes the experience in his music and gives the listener a unique sound experience. The studio images I wanted to create something dreamlike and surreal, yet modern because this is also a feature of his music. Outside the studio, at least the picture I show, I wanted to make them look very introverted and personal because the artist tells his personal feelings to the audience. To really feel the mood, I recommend you to watch the entire music video. The link is in the description below. And now, let's dive into the process. And this is the setup. We have the outdoor shoot, where we go very introverted. Then we go into his studio, where he creates this unique sound, so we dive into his world. And then I show you the dream phase. This is this one here and this one here. So we create three different looks. I group them. So we have the outdoor group. In the pre-clip, we have the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera to Davinci White Gamut. Then we go to the group post clip where I show you later what I did here. And then we go into the timeline. Of course, it is the conversion from Davinci White Gamut to Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. So we start with the outdoor shoot. In the group post clip, I implemented already the look. So I did the additional S-curve, and this smooth curve I did with the editable splines. Then with the gamma, so I showed you the before, maybe it's better, so like that. So we have the contrast curve like that. Then with the gamma I lift up by 0.01 to brighten up the whole outdoor shoot a little bit. Then with the offset wheel, I created this bluish introverted look. And with the tint curve down here, I balanced out a little bit this bluish tint overall. So I warmed it up a little bit. And if you watch before and after of the look and the tint curve, you see a little green tint. So we start. I go with the exposure here, like that. So I want to go really dark and really bluish. So we are really in this introverted look of him, like that. So I'm pretty happy. I just play it through. Before and after, before and after. Then with the contrast I do nothing because I'm pretty happy for now, but with the white balance I balanced the darkest part of the image a little bit. So we balanced it. If you watch here, we have a huge blue shift. Generally speaking, it is okay, but I like when I have some color separation somewhere. And now we have this green tint overall. And when I balanced out the black levels with the lock wheel a little bit, you will see that then the grass and the jacket and the background gets more neutral, and we have a huge color contrast and a three-dimensional look again, because now it's like a two-dimensional look because the blue tint is overall. with the shadow wheel, I balanced out a little bit the darkest part of the image. Before and after, I hope you see that on YouTube, but before it's like a blue tint overall, and now we have still this bluish greenish tint, but with more color separation and more of a three-dimensional feeling. I loop it like that, and before it's just overall blue in the shadows, and it doesn't look good to me. So with more color separation, we have more mood and more three-dimensional feeling. I go further, so the sky node I want to create anyway, because he talks about how he composed music by joining his dream phase and implement that experience into his music. So I want to put only on the brightest part of the image some kind of yellowish reddish tones, so it feels a little bit still like he's dreaming, right? So with the sky, I go to the qualifier here, and I switch only on the luminance value because this is the only thing I care about. So I highlight it and I go really picking the brightest part of the image. Low softness, I'm gonna soft the isolation. Then I dial it back again, the low luminance. And then with the blur, I put a lot of blur in it. You see that here. So it will feel like a glow a little bit after the correction. So like that. I push this image a little bit here. And now with the gain wheel, I push some color there. Some red, some yellow. Then I darken it down a little bit, so it gets more intense. I lower it down the saturation a little bit. Before and after, before and after. Maybe it's too strong. I dial it down the saturation. Yes, before and after, before and after. I'm gonna play it. Yes, now you have this kind of surrealism and this introverted bluish greenish tint for the look. We go a step further. Skin, we don't need that. Look, I will implement with the gamma wheel a little bit of blue overall, but just with the gamma because I want to go slightly into the blue. Yes, something like that. I hope you see that on YouTube. Before and after, before and after. You see it in the hair and on the jacket. Before and after. So it feels more cold. Or colder. Yes. Let's go further. Now for this one, I copy paste the look. I play it through. Yeah, this one feels weaker. So this one needs more depth, more contrast compared to this one. Yeah, but I noticed something else here. I have to put a vignette because I am too distracted and I need a little bit more depth into the image too at the same time. So I go to the vignette node, make a vignette. So I want to create more depth in the foreground here and here. So I put it somewhere like that, invert. And then with the gain wheel, I go down, and then with the gamma, I create a little bit more contrast. So before and after, before and after. Maybe, I'm not quite happy. I darken it down a little bit on the left edge. Yes, before and after. Before and after. So we guide the viewer's eye and we have more depth into the image. I like that. I copy this vignette too. to the next one here, just to see how it looks. So I adapt already this one. I made something like that, so I darken it down here and a little bit on the edge and on the top of the image, so we have more depth. But anyway, it's still too weak. Yes, so I go to the contrast wheel and I put some contrast in it like that, and with the gamma I dial it down. So I play it through. Not bad. Let me check. Yes, it feels good, but the sky isolation doesn't work, so I gonna check that. I go to the sky isolation, highlight it, yeah. So I go here with the low luminance. Here I dial it back. This is too much, like that. Yes, before and after, before and after. I check if I can do better. I'm not quite happy. Maybe less blur. Yeah, it's not bad. Need more tweak, a little bit more blur. Yes. Maybe this one is too blue. Let me check this one. Yes. The look node I switch off. Let me check. Yes, it's better. The vignette is good. Let's check the skin tones. So the skin tones on the nose and on the forehead and here a little bit, it's reddish magenta. I don't want to clean this up to the ideal skin tone level. Why? Because when lighter skin gets cold, it goes red. But for my taste, it's a little bit too much, but I want to keep that cold feeling. So I go to the skin node and then here to the warper. I expand the warper. So I go with the magenta wheel, I dial it back quite a bit. So now it's totally clean. I hope you see that. Before and after, before and after. But with the key output here, I reduce that, let's say, to 0.4. So we have just like 40% of opacity. Before and after. It's minimal. I don't think you see that on YouTube, but it's there. So I play it through. But I'm not quite happy with the shot matching. This one feels a little bit colder. Of course, we have another perspective from the camera. Now we look to the river. And here we have like greenish tone from the wood and from the grass, and brownish tones, of course, too. And this one, it's just like water. But anyway, even if it's right, it doesn't feel right. So in the second look node here, I go with the color temperature and I'll dial a little bit of warmth in there. Not too much, maybe something like that. Before and after, before and after. I looked that through. Yes, it's much better. So now we are in the studio. Here I made another group. So for this group, in the group post clip, I made a really harsh contrast curve, because in the studio it should feel dark, edgy and strong, because now we are in his world as a creative composer, and it should feel also a little bit modern, like I explained before. So I thought this edgier contrast fits the story better. So exposure wise, to be honest, I don't do anything because the contrast curve did already everything I needed. But to introduce a little bit of modern touch, I put it the light ray effect like that. And then here I don't like the add mode because it introduces too much of saturation pretty fast. So I go to screen mode. With the threshold, I lower it down, maybe something like that. Then I move around something like that. Move around the location. Then the length, I don't want to go too strange, but some kind of modern, because his music is electronic music and pretty unique. So I want his studio to feel also pretty unique. And of course the setup of the light made the whole job as a colorist pretty easy on this one. So it's a little bit too strong, so with the source threshold I go back a little bit. And now let's watch this here. I think on this one I need a stronger vignette. Yeah, so we are really with him. Now we go into the studio. Yes, we need a vignette here too. Otherwise we are distracted of these bright colors here, and we want to really focus on him because we want to go into his mind and feel his music. So I darken it down quite a bit, something like that. So before and after, I loop it. Yeah, now we are really into his mind. Let's watch it again. That's pretty much it here. So this one here, I try to copy paste it. Yeah, it doesn't work. So I switch off the vignette. I switch off the VFX for the moment. And I concentrate on the exposure. So with the offset wheel, in HDR mode, I brighten up quite a bit this look. Let's watch that. Yes, it's better. So this one should feel also a little bit more surreal. So if you watch the entire clip, it does make sense, everything. But now it should feel, maybe it feels a little bit strange to hear that it should feel extremely surreal. But with the light rays, I want to really introduce that. So I'm sorry. Something like that. Let's check. Softness, go back with that. Then I go with the length. Let's check how it looks. It's too bright, so I go with the threshold a little bit back, maybe something like that. Yes. With the softness, I go a little bit softer. Yeah, now I have to figure it out how I go away with this bluish tone. I try it with the light rays itself. So I go something like that, maybe on this greenish part a little bit. Check what it does. Yes, much better. Yeah, very good. I'm pretty happy with that. So we are really in his creative world here, in his mind, creative mind, to introduce this unique sound. This one is pretty good. I don't need to do anything here. Yeah, here maybe a little bit of vignette. Yeah, let's check this out, it's too strong. Yeah, maybe down here. Before and after, so really with him. I will not copy paste the image before, but the first one. Yes, let's check that out. Vignette, it's not important here. And then the light rays, I'm not quite happy. Let's check on this monitor. No, I have to maybe introduce more length, less softness. Yes, and then turn the location position on this side. Yeah, now we have again this modern technical look, something like that. Now, this is the dream phase, so it is already pretty warm. I don't want this reddish tone, but more of yellowish tones. And now he is dreaming and have his experience, and then later he will express that into his music. So I will introduce a little bit of exposure. So I go with the HDR wheel, global exposure, and dial it up. Sorry for that. So maybe something like that. So before and after. Then I'm pretty happy with that. I don't need more contrast. Yeah, white balance, we have too much red into the shadows. And you see that down here. So I don't want that. I want, again, a little bit of color separation. So with the lock wheel here, I balance the shadows a little bit out. So I introduced more greenish, bluish tones. So before and after, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, before and after. Gentle adjustments, but very effective. Yes, so now in the look node, I desaturate the image quite a bit. So I have a monochromish look. Something like that. Before and after, now it gets really interesting. And then with the second look node, with the gamma, I will introduce some reddish, yellowish tones. Something like that. So golden tones, a little bit of red. Then with the lock wheel of the shadows, I introduce a little bit of blue, greenish tones. Yes. Now, before the look, after the look. So I desaturated first the entire look, so it gets really monochromish. And then with the gamma wheel, I introduce a little bit of yellow and red, so it gets really like in a dream phase. Then with the vignette, I will darken down even further the edges. So we are really again in his mind. Like that. And now with the gain wheel, I dial it down. Like that. A little bit of gamma too. Yes. Before and after, before and after. That's pretty good. And then with the second vignette, here, on this node, I will brighten up the light source a little bit with the gamma wheel, something like that. Let's check. So it's like the light shines to him and he will get inspired by the light source. Then I copy paste. Yeah, I have to stabilize it. like that. Yes, the expression is perfect, the color, I love that too. So now what I do with the VFX again, it's to copy paste the light rays, and now I will introduce even more dreamy face look. I have to lower it down the threshold, the location of the light rays. I have to correct a little bit. Length, less softness, less brightness. No, more brightness, but less saturation, right? So I will put on the look node where I desaturated the look, I will do it even more. Maybe something like that. And then in the look adjustment, I darken it down. Now I play it through. It's not bad. This vignette here, I don't need that. This vignette, it's okay, I'm not happy. I have to guide the view of the audience a little bit more. So we really focus on his eyes and on the light rays, so it feels really dreamy. Now it's too dark. I cancel this one here. Now I don't know why, but the stabilization is again away. So I put it back. Let's watch it again. Yes, and the light rays really introduce this dreamy face of him. Yes. So why it was so simple and fast, everything? So first of all, the interior shots, when we talk about lighting, the look was already there. Then, even more important, not more important, but as important too, when they shot it, if you see down here, I don't know if you can see it, but here the color temperature, it's about 4500 Kelvin. So they introduced already the look also with the camera and with the light. Then when you go to the outdoor shots, again, the color temperature, it's not like 6500 or 5600, it is 4900. So it's pretty cold already. So I have to really, in the group post clip, put a little bit of greenish bluish tones, and that's it. So it's really important already during the production that the DOP introduces the look already. And this is the final look we did. So the introverted part, dark, bluish, cold. Then we go into the studio, edgy, gritty, and strong and dark. So we really go into his mind, his ideas, his passion, and then his dream phase where he gets his inspiration to create his unique music. And that's it. And this is it, guys. Thank you very much for your attention. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you learned something today and you appreciate my channel, you can buy me a coffee if you like. How this works is in the description below. Be ready for the next look breakdown. And like I always say, focus always on story and keep it simple.